Happy Wednesday! I'm sorry I didn't get around to posting last week. We're in the middle of the summer holidays. The kids are off school and my world is just a sea of chickens, children, vegetables, and literally we're getting up in the morning at like 6 a.m. because you've got to let chickens out of their coop really early. And to start off with, the kids are like really excited. They were like, okay mummy, let's get up, let's go let the chickens out. And we all get our little outfits on. We've got chicken outfits, not like chicken costumes, but waterproof outfits. The kids have even got like little peaked caps that are attached to their outfits that they wear out in the morning. We get our wellies on. We all trudge down the garden to let the chickens out. And it's always like a bit of an exciting thing, which chicken's going to come out of the coop first. And the chickens are amazing. They're so funny. They're just hilarious. I love them so much. And my husband every day comes home and he walks down to the chicken coop and he'll have a look around and he'll see all the new toys that I bought the chickens that day. He walks back up the garden shaking his head. But they're amazing and I want to make their life as fun as possible. And they've got a huge space to be in. Really tall as well, because the actual coop itself, we've made it's 7 feet tall, so there's room for them to fly. And chickens actually can fly a decent way. There's room for them to fly. I've got all sorts of things in there for them now. Bridges, swings, perches all over, roosts, all sorts of things, ropes. And we're absolutely loving it. But the novelty's starting to wear off a little bit now for my kids. So I woke them up this morning and I was like, come on guys, wake up, time to go and do the chickens. And they're like, mummy, you can do the chickens this morning. We're just going to have a little bit longer in bed. And I thought, oh God, it's not taken long. It's not taken long before the novelty's worn off. But for me, the novelty will never wear off. The novelty of this will never wear off. How it feels to walk into your own backyard, your own garden, greet these amazing little bundles of light in the morning that have got such individual characters. They're so lovely. Collect the eggs. Collect your vegetables and your herbs and your fruits in a big basket and take it back up into the house. I'm absolutely loving it. Now, because I've got so many eggs, I've also started making my own bread as well. And me and my daughters, we're allergic to wheat. We can't eat wheat at all, so I have to make gluten-free bread. And anybody that's got a wheat allergy and has eaten gluten-free bread before will tell you how disgusting gluten-free bread is. So I've been experimenting making my own breads, and I've made some really good ones. And the other day my parents came round and I made some homemade potato soup. I got my loaf of bread out the oven steaming, put it on the side, and my dad went, "Has thou made that this end?" Like, yes Dad, I make my own bread now. And I can see him looking thinking, where's all this come from? Because I used to be a bit of a rebel back in the day, you know, drinking, smoking, used to sing. I was a singer, so I'd be travelling around drinking, smoking before I went on stage. And yeah, I was a bit of a rebel back then. And now he sees his daughter with like chickens and children and eggs and making my own bread, and I can see he's just thinking, well, she turned out all right in the end. I hope he thinks that anyway. So yeah, I've been making my own bread. I eventually harvested the medicinal plants that I've been growing, and I've started making tinctures from those as well. They're brewing at the moment, so I'm really excited to taste them and see what they're going to taste like when they're eventually ready. So I'll let you know about that one. So that's my little introduction over for this week, because I've got a really, really long session to read you, so I'm very, very keen to get straight into it. Just to give you a bit of background on this, another one of the reasons why I didn't post last week, apart from the fact that having these chickens means we're getting up at the crack of dawn, which means by 7 p.m. at night I'm absolutely exhausted and I'm putting myself to bed. So I just haven't had time to transcribe anything. I did manage to transcribe a little session last week. That was when, you may remember me saying that a client that I had a dragon come through who wanted to give us all a message about Ascension. So I managed to transcribe that, and that's what I was going to share last week. However, I got the opportunity to have a QHHT session myself. One of the things that I do is I will often find that I get many new practitioners that come to see me for a session. So they'll be training in QHHT, or they'll be thinking of training in QHHT, and they want to come and experience a session first themselves before they undertake the training, to make sure that it's the right path for them, the right thing to do. So I often get new practitioners coming to me for a session, and I don't find out that they're new practitioners until they're literally in front of me and we're discussing it on the day. So I always say to them in the session, you know, once you've done your training, if you want to come and see me and have a practice on me, so do one of your first sessions on me, because you know you're going to get somebody who goes under hypnotherapy easily, who will be able to give you some feedback on your technique, and will be able to help you. Then come and see me, do a session on me, and I will return the favour and do a session for you. And I experienced that a lot. This session I was able to have last week was with a brand new practitioner, Rachel Hillary, the lovely Rachel, who not only did this session for me, but she also transcribed the session for me afterwards as well, so I didn't have to do it. And I am so grateful to Rachel, because this is such a long session. It would have taken me weeks. And it means that now I've got the information to share with you literally the week after. So I had this session myself last Wednesday. So she's transcribed it, so I'm able to share it with you guys this week, which is amazing. So here we go. I'm just going to go straight into it and begin. And this, she says, sorry, just one more thing. This was a bit of not a shock, because I have been aware of this fairy for a while. When I meditate, this fairy has presented themselves to me before. So I have been aware of this fairy, but this is the first time I've had an experience of this fairy actually being a part of me. I thought this fairy was one of my guides, but apparently she's actually a part of me. So here we go, here's the session. So I go straight in at the beautiful place. I always do. I'm not required to be taken on the cloud. I always go straight in at the beautiful place. For people that don't understand what that means, if you're not trained in QHHT, with Dolores Cannon's main method that she used to use, it's called the cloud technique, but there is a place in the technique where people can go into a past life before you actually get them onto a cloud, and that place is called the beautiful place, and that's the place where I went straight in. So I say to my practitioner Rachel, I'm stood on a lily pad on a lake, and as I look around, it's like a glade. There's trees all around me, and there's a beautiful, calm, clear lake with lily pads all over. And I'm stood next to a frog, and I remember seeing this frog, and it was massive. I'm very small. I am a fairy, and when I look down, I can see I've got bare feet, and then I laugh, and I say I've got a dusky pink dress on. So Rachel asks, do you have wings? And I say, yes. The frog is much bigger than me. Can you describe your wings? They're a bit like, how would you describe dragonfly wings? That see-through kind of. And Rachel says like an iridescent, yes, and sparkly, with lines of silver that go through them. And I'm excitedly buzzing them and moving around the frog. The frog is giving me a message. What is the message? He's telling me that there's going to be a meeting later today in the forest about the convergence of the spheres. The worlds are going to meet. The worlds that were separate in dimension before are going to meet. So the spheres are the worlds? Yes. The human world in particular has been separated from ours for a very long time. They have been separated from us in vibration and frequency. And because of the light that's coming onto the planet, some of the humans, not all, some of the humans have been able to raise their frequency so that they are more of a match to us. And ultimately, that will mean that the spheres, the different worlds, will converge. And all of the creatures in the different worlds that resonate at that higher frequency will once again live in the same world. And there are many of us that are excited about that. But some of the creatures have low opinions of humans because of the things that humans have done over the years. So there's going to be a meeting tonight for everybody to discuss how this is going to work. How do you feel about this meeting? I feel happy. I just want all of the creatures to see that there is nothing to fear. The humans that will enter our world will be of a higher frequency. So they will not be of a frequency that would be able to harm us in any way. But some of the creatures are still distrustful of this. So, do you connect with the humans now? Yes, I have human connections. How do you connect with them? The one that you are speaking to today, I am a fractal of her. Would you call the realm that you're speaking from the elemental realm? It is just our realm, the realm where we reside. Do you connect more with the children than the grown-ups? Children are higher frequency. They have just come from source. Many of them can still see us. Many of them have memories of being fairies themselves. Many of them do not understand why they can no longer fly. How do you connect with them now? Telepathically? Through the heart? When their physical bodies are resting at night time, their spirit, their soul, their essence is released into the dimension where we reside, and we connect with them there. They are able to see us in their dimension too, if we choose it. I think there's a lot of children who seem to be able to see fairy creatures like you. Yes. Does that make you happy? Yes, it's good to interact. Children are happy, joyful, like our kind. If only all human adults could retain that same vibration. But we understand that humans have been subjected to many frequencies that we have not. Sorry, little red bird, I've got all my hair all over your beak. Is it possible for them to reconnect with you, to find that connection that they had? We connect via frequency and vibration. If they cannot connect to the frequency that we are, they will not see us. It is up to them to find that higher frequency within themselves. So are you on earth right now in this time of the shift? Yes, we are getting ready. Do you feel excited? Yes, it has been a long time since we have been reunited with other parts of ourselves. Many of the fairies have tried to connect with the other parts of themselves that have been incarnated as humans. Many of these parts have woken up, but many are still yet to awaken. They are awake on some level. They will say that they like fairies. They will feel like they are awake, in that they are open to the idea of fairies being real. But they are not yet truly awake to what is happening on the planet. Do you think they will awaken? Or will it take them seeing you to truly awaken? Many are still lost in the dream. Many have been captured by the lower frequencies. We have done all that we can to awaken the human parts of ourselves. But many have chosen to stay in the lower vibrational experience. Does that make you sad? Yes, because there is so much pain in that realm. So much unnecessary pain and suffering. There is. Is there any suffering in your realm? No. Tell me more about it. What do you do every day? We explore. We share our frequency with the forest and the other creatures. Our frequency of joy helps many. We help the plants to grow, the flowers too. We give additional light to anything that may need it, to anything that may have been affected by the darkness. How do you give the light? Is it just natural for you to do it? It just comes from our soul. It emanates out. It's in our auric field, and anything that we pass by is nourished by our frequency. That sounds beautiful. Do you have friends and family there in that realm? Yes. Are they fairies too? Yes, I have a family. But we are all connected here. We are all family in the Fae realm. Then I pause and I say, I'm at the meeting now. Tell me about it. What do you see? There's a huge glade in the forest, a circle of trees all around, and in this place there are very high energetics. Everyone is bathed in moonlight. There is a representative of all creatures there. And then I laugh. And Rachel says, who is this being? Because she must sense that I'm looking at something that's made me laugh. There are all creatures here represented that live in the woods, in all of the realms that are of higher frequency. So the Fae, the gnomes, the pixies, elementals, trolls, squirrels, badgers, frogs, nymphs, every kind of creature. So there are animals there too. Yes, they are here because for a time we did not believe that this would happen. We did not believe that the humans would truly enter the same frequency as us again, because they have been so low in frequency for so long. Why do you think that happened? How did they go so low? Interference from low frequency beings. What do you know about these beings? Or do you stay away? We are aware of them. Are you able to protect yourself from the energies of these beings and stay safe? Yes, they do not come into our frequency because we are of a higher frequency and positively polarized. But we are aware of them and the damage that they have caused. It must be difficult to see the pain and try to help and not be able to convince everyone. We have been aware of the pain of our human parts because we are connected to them. So, do you get to experience the connection with your human self as you are as a fairy now? If we choose to lower ourselves by the density of ourselves to experience that pain, yes. Describe for me what you are seeing now. All of the creatures are gathered to discuss the convergence of the spheres. Many still do not believe that it will occur, but many of us who are connected to both our human parts and the other parts of ourselves that are connected to the stars in different galaxies, on different planets, we know from that connection that this merge will occur, and it will merge all of the higher frequency realms that have been separated from the human world. It will merge those realms with the humans that have managed to raise their frequency to a certain level when the frequency is polarized and are helped by the higher levels of light that are bathing the planet. Is it like an integration that will occur? Yes. All the selves will then become aware of each other? Yes. So on the 5th dimensional integrated level, there will be many parts of one self that will be residing in the same space. How will that affect the humans, the ones who are high vibration enough to feel this? What will they feel or see? It will be wonderful. A sense of true connection. And the more integrated you become with the other parts of yourself, the more you will share knowledge about the different things that you can do. And the humans that move to a higher frequency will soon be able to fly. They will soon just remember how that they can achieve that. There will be many humans that discover that they have other parts of themselves living in other dimensions, in other kingdoms, that they potentially weren't aware of, that were helping them through the entire shift, sending them light and frequency in order to help them raise their own frequency. This one here today has parts of herself incarnated in the fairy realm, as you know, and she also has a part of herself who is a unipeg, a Pegasus unicorn combination. Where is that? It resides in a realm on Earth, and she also has a part of herself that she is already aware of that is incarnated as a Sasquatch. All of those parts of herself that are in higher frequency, she will be able to access after the shift. So will you be able to move between these selves? You can move consciousness between the selves if you wish, but you can also have physical conversations with the other parts of yourselves in that same dimension. What's happening at the meeting now? Some of the woodland creatures are not convinced that we will be able to live in harmony. Myself and many of the Fae are explaining that these humans will be different. They would not be able to cross the barrier. There will be a separation. They will not be able to cross the barrier without being of a frequency whereby they would not hurt another living thing. And that in and of itself is enough to shut down any worry or fear that some of the woodland creatures have. And I understand why they feel this way. It is understandable, for many of their kind have been hunted in the past and have lower expressions of themselves that reside as creatures in the 3rd density. So the animals have different versions of themselves too. Yes, they are connected too. They have felt trauma at the hands of the lower dimensional humans. But these humans that will integrate with our own, they will not be able to hurt us in any way. It is the law of the universe. They won't want to hurt anyone anymore. They will not be physically able to cross into this realm. They would not be a vibrational match if they would hold any malice or anger in their hearts. And we reassure one of the representatives of all of the creatures that when the shift happens, it will be a better place for all, because it means that more of ourselves, the ones that make the shift, are able to enter that higher frequency, and we will be closer, one step closer to evolving back to source. Tell me more about these spheres. Are they the different worlds? Different dimensions, different realms, different layers of the onion, using an onion as a representation. Gaia has different expressions of herself that they're just different realms. They are separated off from the human world by frequency. When the shift occurs, Gaia will hold one frequency, which will be fifth dimensional. So all of the spheres that resonate at that frequency will merge into one common reality. The old third dimensional realm will be separated off in energy from what Gaia truly is, like a shedding of a skin, like mitosis. So is this a natural process? Yes. Everything is given the opportunity to evolve. And those energies that are not ready to evolve repeat until they are ready to evolve. The purpose of the universe is for all energy to make its way back through experience and consciousness to source. And eventually all beings will, even those that for a time find themselves trapped in density. What will happen once everyone has shifted? Does 3D become no more? It's like a spider shedding its skin. The old skin, the old shell, the physicality of it will remain, and the beings that are energetically aligned to that old, dead, dark, dense energy will remain on that old, dead spider shell. But there is no life in it. The spirit of the spider stays with the newly born spider. The spirit and the soul stays with the newly born realm. The old skin, the old dead skin, has no life in it. Nothing will grow. The life moves, the spirit moves to the new dimension. The old dimension will have no spirit, will have no soul. Everything that remains in that place will have to fight over the remaining resources. Nothing new will grow. There would be nobody left there who would know how to grow it anyway. I thought that was interesting. That came from me. I'm reading this back myself thinking, I can't believe that came. It obviously wasn't me, but it was a part of me. Why would anybody want to stay there? Experience. Everything is infinite. Source wishes to know itself in every possible scenario. Even the darkness? The darkness is important. For how would the light know itself without the darkness? But it's important that the darkness knows itself too. And when the split occurs, the darkness will truly experience what it is, because it will no longer have the light to feed off. It will no longer have the innocent to feed off. That which perpetuates the darkness, constantly feeding off a higher source of energy, will no longer be available. They will be trapped karmically in a realm of their own making. They will turn on each other, but they will find that what lies within them is darkness. There will be nothing of any higher light enough to feed them, and they will truly understand then what darkness is, what they are. It will be a lesson for them that choosing the dark path can only be done if they have the light to feed off. The darkness feels that it does not need the light. It scorns it, ridicules it, tortures it, mocks it. But without that light, it ceases to exist. The light is everything. The light fuels everything. The light creates everything. The light is everything. But the light respects the role that the darkness plays. Because without the darkness, the light would not truly understand what love is. The light would not truly understand how important it is to fight for that which you love. Pain is necessary for the light to know itself. So we respect the darkness. It is not an easy role to play, to be the darkness. It is not an easy role. And somebody must play the role of the darkness. So we do respect the darkness, but the light will always win. It seems like a lot of humans on Earth right now are feeling how you described a spider shedding the old skin and trying to move forwards. Yes. What advice would you give to the awakened humans? They must stay true to themselves. The darkness is an aggressive energy. It lashes out. It fuels itself on fear, on the fear of the innocent, and it needs to continually be moving to new, fresh energy, new, fresh fear. And then Rachel understands, I think, a little bit what I'm saying, because she says, why does it fear the innocent? And I say, the darkness does not fear the innocent. The darkness needs the fear of the innocent to move its energy forward. The darkness is chaos, destruction. It destroys everything. It devours everything. It ruins everything that is innocent. And it is fighting for its very life, its very existence right now. It knows that the time that has been spoken of since the beginning is upon us. And no matter what it tries to do to stop the energies from escalating, the darkness will find, no matter what it tries to do to create fear, to control, to trap, to dominate, it will just increase the light. Nothing that it can do now can stop what is happening on the planet. There are thousands upon thousands of lights burning brightly all over the planet. And these lights have created a net of light. And they've passed their energy on and lit other people up. The light is being passed around from one person to the next. People are waking up en masse all over the globe, no matter what the darkness does. It seems almost like the darkness is propelling the light. Yes, they are opposing energies, and the more the darkness tries to grow itself, the more the light will grow, until the two energies become so volatile in the same space that they will repel each other. And that is when the spider will shed its skin. And all of the starseed beings and the awakened humans, they just have to hold on, stay true. Yes, because they are the bridge now, the bridge to the new world. They have each and every one found it so difficult in recent weeks to maintain their frequency. And that has been because the collective consciousness has been completely shaken. It has needed to be shaken. We are approaching the finale now. Too many have stayed asleep and would stay asleep without their entire foundations being shaken. The only way a diamond can be formed is through intense pressure. There has had to be something that has linked all of the realities, that has provided each agenda with an opportunity. So the darkness have released their virus, but this provides the light with an opportunity, because it has shaken awake many. People are starting to question what is going on their tiny planet. Did the darkness know that this would happen? The darkness are arrogant. The darkness believe that they are untouchable. They have controlled this planet for eons, and they arrogantly believe that they will continue to do so because they know that the light will not allow anyone to be harmed. But this is why what is to occur is genius, because the frequency and vibration itself will decide where everybody will end up. And those dark ones cannot trap people who wish to reside in a higher frequency. They cannot trap them anymore. The universe is frequency and vibration. This is universal law. Those who break free of the lower frequencies will pass into the new dimension. And those who, at a soul level, even if they are not aware of it, those who choose to stay in the dying 3D earth are doing so because they believe that that experience will benefit them in the long run, and that they will learn from it, and that as we are infinite, when this situation presents itself again, which it will, they will not make that same mistake. So there will be more than one opportunity for them to shift. In the cycle of the universe, there will be many opportunities for them to evolve. What's happening at the meeting now? Are you still there? And I was aware at this point that I was no longer the fairy, that I had merged with my a part of me that's very, very high dimensional and resides within the frequency of Alcyone. It was through this particular purple energy that I was able to connect to source on the last QHHT session that I had. So at this point I have merged with that really high frequency purple ray energy. I think that's why I'm obsessed with purple. So she asks if I'm still at the meeting. I have melded with my higher dimensional self, and the meeting, the purpose of that was to bring wisdom down to pass on to all of these beings from a higher dimensional perspective so that they have nothing to fear. So as this fairy, I've merged with my higher dimensional self to channel this wisdom down to the woodland creatures and all of the creatures who are panicking a little bit, to basically let them know that there's nothing to fear, that everything is going to work out fine, because from a dimensional perspective, the humans can't pass into this new dimension if they're bad, basically. So the woodland creatures are happy now. I carry on, and to explain to them that this whole process is so heavily supported from the light. There will only be one outcome. The spheres will converge, and all of the higher dimensional beings will find themselves in the same place. And just to clarify at this point, when I say higher dimensional beings, all of the higher dimensional beings, I don't mean all of the dimensional realms that are higher than us will merge. I just mean all of the spheres that are currently residing on Gaia that are of a higher frequency than we are. So the positively polarized fourth dimensional realms, they will all merge with us on the new Earth plane, the 5D new Earth plane. There will still be many, many other dimensions higher than the fifth dimensional plane. But I'm just talking about the different realms on Gaia that are positively polarized will merge on the fifth dimension. Did you get that? Sorry if it's all a bit confusing. And then I say, at this point, those of us that reside in the higher frequencies will be able to, if we choose, join the other parts of ourselves for a brief period of time that reside even higher. So when you get to that fifth dimensional new Earth, if, say, for example, I wanted to spend some actual time with this purple energy that is a higher dimensional expression of me, I will be able to do that when I get to New Earth. There will be many reunions. Many parts of each other that have been forgotten will be reunited. That connection that all of the starseeds search for on your planet will be found. You will truly feel like brothers and sisters. And anybody who is not able to maintain that higher frequency on the new Earth will find themselves falling away. Only those who are true to the light will be able to stay in the new dimensional Earth. So then I'm going to keep this next bit private because it's just discussing the connection between me and this energy in a little bit more depth. But then Rachel asks if there's any more advice or messages that this purple energy would like to give me today. And I'd like to share this because I think all of you guys will benefit from this. She must not get sucked back into the ways of this planet, and I am aware that that is not easy. I am also aware that she is struggling because her frequency has risen so much that this world just seems like a very strange place to her. But this is the world that she has chosen to be in until the shift occurs. And she made a promise, a contract, that she would help as many as she could, so she stays. But this is the final stance, the final part, if you will. She has taken the people and done as much as she can whilst she has been there. And when the shift occurs, she will meet many in the new frequency who may seem like strangers to her, but they will know her because of who she was on Earth. She has done great work. Back then we hoped that this would work. But all we had was hope that the light would know itself at the right time and that the light would win. And when Aurora parted from me, I felt it very strongly. I felt the lack of connection very strongly. And although we could still connect always, particularly when Aurora was inside of the Earth, it has been hard, for I have missed that connection too. And there have been times when I was concerned that she would lose herself in this density. But she has always made her way back to the light, and she has addressed karmically everything that has occurred on this journey. She is the light. She will never stray too far from the light, because the darkness holds no energy for her. She is polarized towards the light and love. And over the course of time that she has been on this planet, she has helped many people, many people. She has helped the planet herself. And even now, she still holds the frequency, even though she is weary and tired. She has been here for so long. But I ask, hold the frequency that bit longer, because you are almost home. And although it feels like the world is collapsing, it is the polarization of the two energies. The energy needs to build. It needs to become unbearable for the split to occur. And for those that are of the light, it will feel unbearable. It is. And it will get worse before the split occurs. But this is necessary. Always remember that. It is necessary. Is there anything that Laura and people like her can do to make it easier to hang on? Although Laura and others like her, who will have the same energy, are inquisitive, and they feel they need to keep looking out there to find out what is happening, it does not do the light any good to keep an eye on the dark. It has come to that point where, in order to polarize, the light must separate itself completely from the darkness. So disconnect more? Yes. And tune into the light? Yes. She must use this opportunity now to disconnect completely. And will that help to amplify the light? Yes. The light needs to polarize as well as the dark. And the light cannot polarize itself whilst it is still completely being attacked by the darkness all of the time. I think it's those attacks and connections that make it more unbearable. Yes, and it does affect the individual's frequency. Even though someone like Laura feels that she can protect herself and that she is strong and wise, and she is, but the light does not feel good when it is around too much darkness. It feels like that part of connecting and reaching out and observing the darkness is over now, and that she should just tune into the light. Yes, she must disconnect now. She knows this. She has been trying, but she must. Those people that are meant to find her for healing will find her, but she must disconnect from the social platforms. If she still chooses to share information on the channel, she can do this, but she must switch off the comments. So she can put her frequency out there, but she must not put herself in a position where she is susceptible or where the darkness can reach her. She must become a bubble of light, a haven of light. This is why we have encouraged her to work with the seeds. Much wisdom can be found from seeds. Much wisdom can be found from plants. Watching plants grow, watching seeds grow. She is that seed that has been immersed in the deepest, deepest darkness. Deepest darkness. Yet even though, as that seed buried in the deepest darkness, she has always known that she is the light. She is headed for the surface. That is where she is headed now. The surface of the new dimension. Life, light. The light will always know itself, no matter how deeply you bury it. It will always head for what it knows to be there. It does not need to see the light to know that it is there. It knows that it is light. And it will head for that connection every time. This starseed experiment is the biggest garden, if you like. We knew that it would work. We hoped that it would work. But as with every garden, there are many seeds that you will plant, and they will choose to stay in the darkness where it is safe. There will always be those seeds that do not blossom, that do not head for the light, even though they themselves are light. And we hoped that enough of you, when you were dropped into the darkness, would remember that you are light. And we are very pleased because you have. And we are so proud of you. You are shining so brightly, each and every one of you. And we are so proud of you. Keep shining. No matter how dark it gets, no matter if it feels like all is lost, it is not lost. It is just beginning. Is that why so many starseeds have had such darkness in their own lives? Yes, it must spark that germination process, the process of heading for the light, because when exposed to true darkness and the feelings that one feels, the abhorrence that is felt, the seed seeks the light because it knows that darkness, that energy that it was subjected to, is not how it wants to feel. It is not right. Which is why many starseeds have had very, very traumatic backgrounds. It is known that the wound is where the light enters. Are there any final words that you would like to give to Laura today? She's going to find the next few months very tough, as will all starseeds. This is the hardest mission that you have ever been given. And you have undertaken many missions in the infinite. But you also know truth, which is the light always wins. The light always wins. So no matter how bad things may seem to get, hold on to that, because what awaits you all on the other side will be worth it. Hold the frequency. Detach. You must become bubbles of light. Stay connected. The light must stay connected. But even if that is just an energetic connection and not a technological connection, whilst the two worlds polarize, then so be it. But you must protect your frequency now. It is the most important thing. Protect your frequency. Protect your space. Make it a haven, a sanctuary. Stay in the garden. Work with the flowers and the vegetables and the seeds and the animals. Meditate more. You are not meditating enough. Meditate more now. Work more with essential oils. Make those tinctures that you have grown the plants for. You have grown them. Make them. I've made sure I've done that. So that was the end of the conversation with the purple being. Then Rachel brings my higher self through, and this is how the conversation continues. Now, I'm not going to share all of this because much of it is private, but I am happy to share some of it that is in relation to the shift. So, can you explain what you know about what's happening on planet Earth right now in the lead up to the Ascension? It is happening. The darkness is polarizing, attempting to polarize, to take as many souls with it as possible. The darkness knows what is happening. The darkness knows that it will not be able to take everyone with it. But the darkness, being the darkness, is trying to take control by being aggressive, That is the energy of the darkness. It is different to the light. The light allows everybody and everything. The light understands that all creatures have a place. All life is sacred. The darkness takes what it wants for its own agenda. The two opposing energies are polarizing. The darkness is showing itself fully. If people choose to still follow those beings that have shown themselves fully to be darkness, then they have chosen their path. And those that are the light will step away from that energy, even if they don't quite understand what is occurring on the planet. They don't have to be awake to feel that a certain energy is wrong. Their soul will guide them wherever they have chosen to make the transition, whether that is awake or asleep. And if they choose to make that transition asleep, they will wake up on a much better earth. What can we do to prepare for the ascension? The energies are very intense right now for humans. Yes, you must protect yourselves energetically. So do not put yourselves in any situations where you can avoid it, where you are going to be around erratic individuals that are struggling with their own internal vibration. You must protect your own vibration now. Pull back as much as you can so that you are in a space that is sacred, so that your frequency is allowed to increase without being hindered by other people who are of a lower frequency. If you are in relationships with people who are of a lower frequency, you will find that you are clashing. That is a frequency issue. One or the other in the relationship needs to raise their frequency in order for their coexistence to be happy. So as the vibrations polarize more and more, many people will be torn apart. Many relationships will fall away. People who have played a double role, you will start to see those people for who they really are. People who have never shown their true colours will now show their true colours. Everything will be seen for what it truly is. There can be no hiding from this. It is universal law. It is the law of the universe that at this point the energies polarize and separate. All beings have been given the opportunity to evolve. If they choose to stay, that is their choice and it is respected. But it is also respected that those who choose to move into the other dimension are given the space and the opportunity to do so. So we would advise that you remove yourself, unpick yourself from the world. Only interact with people that you know are of high vibration. Make sure that you have some means of sustaining your existence for a small period of time. This is why Laura is growing so much. It worries her because she feels that she has been guided to amass so many vegetables and fruits, and that this concerns her because this might mean that there's going to be a long period of time before the shift occurs. This is not the case. It's just that she knows that everybody around here is ill prepared for what is about to occur. And Laura, being Laura, will harvest her vegetables and her fruits and walk around and help people who are starving in that short period of time. Things are unraveling exponentially now. The polarization is occurring. It will quicken. It will become so quick that it will feel like panic. That's why we must urge now that you unpick yourself as much as possible from these places where the darkness resides. because they will scare you. You must ground yourself and stabilize. Ground yourself and stabilize. If you are not aware of the things that the darkness are saying, the darkness cannot affect you. And you will find that they do not have time to roll out all of this big agenda that they have. They do not have time. It is quickening. The energies will very, very, very quickly polarize. So the best thing for the light to do is to completely unpick. She has unpicked herself from many things, even from groups of light workers that are proving to be unstable, very unstable. The energies that are coming in are affecting many people in ways that they themselves had no idea. There have been times when Laura herself felt like she is losing her grip. Yep. And this is because you must stay away from the technology. Stay away from what is not real. So she then asks, what do you see happening in the coming months on Earth? Anarchy, chaos, people running in the streets, losing control, losing their minds, becoming unhinged. What causes this? Excuse me. Many things. But when an individual is more heavily polarized towards the darkness, and there are huge influxes of light, the opposing energies within that individual fight. It's like having two consciousnesses inside the body. People will lose their grip. Some people will go mad because they feel that society is falling. Every system that has been put in place will fall. That is another reason why she is guided towards growing. Because going into a garden and harvesting a vegetable is truth and real. Numbers in a bank can be taken away. Everything will fall. How close are we to the light and the dark polarizing? This is the year that the shift will occur. This all centers around the shifting of power in the third dimensional realm. The darkness will not allow the one known as Trump. They will not allow him to have another term. They will rig the election, but the one known as Trump will have proof that the election is rigged, and both sides will fight. Government will fall. The darkness do not care about government anymore. All they care about is controlling the people. All you have to do to control the people is to take the food and the water away. People will do anything if they are starving. They will go anywhere to collect food for their family. The darkness are polarizing. Nothing is too low for them. They are the darkness. So you have to think like the darkness to understand where this will go. They will take away everything in order to bend people to their will. But whilst this is occurring, this anarchy is occurring, those that are of the light, who know what is coming, who see what is coming, will be in their places of sanctuary. It sounds like two worlds existing at once. That is exactly what it will be like until the two energies repel each other. And that will occur with the final wave of light that comes in, because that will force the darkness, which will by that point have polarized so strongly, it will split the dimensions. The spider will shed its skin, because energetically the darkness will not be able to stay in that same place. You see these people falling apart now They are falling apart now. In the coming months, this will be seen more and more. More and more truth will be brought to light. When the truth of what has been happening on this planet, with the children, the trafficking, the cannibalism, when this is brought to light, people who are already struggling mentally from going through lockdown due to the virus, they will lose their minds. It will be too much for many people. But again, for those that this is to occur for, it is their choice, their experience that they have chosen. They chose to learn from the experience of unhooking from themselves, their true selves, that much that they forgot that they were light. All will be where they choose to be, but the time is upon us. So my advice would be, stay away from as many people as you can, unless you know them to be of high frequency. There will be many in the light community that begin to bicker. What will the new earth be like? It is a frequency that you are all aware of because you have all resonated at this frequency before. It is truth, beauty, lush green, full of all of the creatures that resonate at the 5th dimensional frequency. Many types of villages will occur. Many people will choose to live in different ways. This one, meaning me, will choose to live in a tree house, but it is made of trees that will twist themselves into a bowl, so the trees themselves are still alive and vibrant. It will be worth all of the darkness, and as soon as that frequency is reached, all of this will seem like a dream. You will shake off the lower frequencies, just like it has all been a dream. You will forget what fear feels like because it will no longer resonate. But it is important that those starseeds that did know this to be their history remember, and that in this brave, beautiful new earth of high frequency, no lower frequency individuals are ever listened to again. Is there anything else that Laura and other Lightworkers need to know about the Ascension? It already feels like it is tough, and it will get tougher. Forgive those who lash out. Show compassion to those. They do not have the same level of wisdom or vibration as you. They are not yet ready to evolve. They will evolve one day, but they need to experience more. Those who are ready to wake, they will find the Lightworkers. But for Lightworkers now, hold your frequency. Do not allow anything to trigger you. If you are in a space where you are being triggered, it is because darkness resides there. Leave that space. You know who you are. You know the world that is waiting for you. And the quicker you polarize in your own happy light bubble, the quicker you will meld with that new realm. So stay protected in a bubble, yes, and we would encourage where possible to link with other high vibrational beings of light. But many are going through their own periods of dealing with darkness that they potentially did not even know that they still carried. Lots of healing is happening. Many unstable people. Go within. Concentrate on your own vibration. Unhook as much as you can from the craziness that you see outside. Much of it is not real. Much of it is just fear. And those energies do not belong to you. worker of light. It's so important that each light worker connects with the energy of Gaia right now, because it is the energy of Gaia that you will shift with. Your connection to her is what will take you to the new realm. Every time you work with a seed, every time you put your hands in the soil, you work with Gaia. You work with the magic. So it is important that you connect with that energy of Gaia. And this does not have to be through planting seeds. It can be through sitting in a wood with your back against a tree and tuning in to that frequency. But you must connect with Gaia, because it is your connection to Gaia which will help you shift. And then the final part, which I would like to share with you guys, is the final message. So Rachel asks, is there anything that we may have forgotten to ask that you would like to say today? We have one final message. Well done. Well done to all of you. We stand in awe at what the ground crew have achieved. There is no one in this universe that is stronger than you. You have held the light in the darkest of places. And we are so proud of what you have achieved. And we ask you to hold that frequency for just a little longer. That's all you have to do. Just hold your frequency a little longer. The darkness will do the rest. They will polarize to such an extent that all it will take is one wave of divine love and the split will occur. So as you look out there and you see anarchy, have peace. Because that means that the shift is upon you. Stay in your frequency bubble. Hold that frequency. That is all you have to do. So that was my session that I had last week, which was a massive surprise for me, because normally whenever I have a QHHT session, I always go to be in Aurora, every time. But this time I went to another part of me that is incarnated in the Fae realm. So there's one final thing that I'd like to mention before I go, and that is I was sat having my cup of tea this morning reading Schrodinger's Other Cat blog, the latest particular blog that they've put out, which is called A Serious Change of Season. And they mentioned my name in it, and they said they saw a picture of me wearing a funny hat laughing. And I just wanted to mention at this point that I was actually wearing a funny hat this morning when I read that particular vlog, and I laughed my head off. So maybe you were just seeing the future. I don't know, but I just thought I'd mention that. So I can see my husband at the window. He's just come home and he's blobbing his tongue out at me, making funny faces, trying to put me off. So I'm going to go now and kick his ass. And yeah, the next time I post, I've got a very short piece that is a message from the dragons, which is beautiful, so I'll share that. I've also got an amazing session with a lady who, for the entire session, she was a galactic being who, her and her fellow galactic tribe, if you like, it was their job to rebuild the atmospheres of planets that had been affected by the darkness, and that was a really interesting lifetime. Had an amazing session today with a lady who just gave loads of information about how the darkness are planning to continue on the 3D Earth after the shift has happened. So many amazing sessions, just too much to mention really. But basically the main cut and thrust of everything that's coming through is hold your frequency, stay away from places where there are unstable and triggered people, get plenty of food and water in your house, because prior to the shift it's going to get really bad, but it's got to get really bad in order for the shift to happen. So I guess if you've got plenty of food and water in your house, you're not going to feel unsettled or ungrounded when everybody else who's asleep starts to freak out because the food supply becomes impacted, which it will at some point this year. Getting that loud and clear from many sessions. And I also had a wonderful psychic medium come to see me for a session who 1000% the food supply is going to be impacted at some point this year. So stock up on food. Don't worry so much about the toilet roll, but definitely get food. Rice in particular would be a very good thing to stock up on, because there's going to be something coming in regarding rice whereby we're just not going to be able to get hold of it. Right, I'm going to have to go. We've got some chickens to feed, some vegetables to harvest, some food to cook, and a husband to speak to. So I will see you guys in a couple of weeks. Until the next time I connect with you all, make sure you stay in that heart space. Make sure you keep vibrating high. Till the next time, love and light to everybody. Bye.